G'day guys and gal. The lore of Warhammer 40k is disgustingly vast. Hundreds of full-length novels and codexes featuring thousands of fleshed out characters with countless plot lines, many of which are like intertwined and cross over. In this vast canyon of potential content, there are many mysteries. Some are points of curiosity, others could shake the setting to its core. We don't know which is which because, they're mysteries. But that won't stop us from checking them out and trying to Sherlock Holmes this bish. Before we get started, I'll be the first to admit that I definitely said yes to way too much stuff last year. 2 merch drops, a shitload of sponsors, the plushies, the calendars, the major minis competition. We got it done, because that's what we do, but I can imagine it would have been a bit of a shill fiesta for you guys. I'm not going to apologize, because the only reason why I can spend 100 hours a week making free content for you legends is because of the sponsors and the merchandise. However, I do recognize that it was too much, and I've cut it back right down for this year. Focusing purely on the minis, less sponsors, and the focus of today's plug, the Majorkill merchandise items. We have just restocked the protein shaker, mouse pad, dice set, magnets, and stickers, all of which I personally worked with a designer for and are all great quality. I'm not really aiming to make much profit off this merch, the margins just aren't there, but I personally really enjoyed putting these together and would love to see some of you guys neck a beer from a Majorkill stubby holder, like this. Oh fuck, it's 10 AM. This merch won't be restocked again, so if you wanted to grab some fun novelty merch for half of what you'd get it elsewhere while supporting the channel, then this is a great way to do it. Today we'll go over 5 of the greatest mysteries in Warhammer 40k lore, explaining the lore surrounding these mysteries, before then providing some solid theories as to what they could actually be. Let's get into it. Something Warhammer really loves to challenge is the concept of right and wrong. If you're doing a morally good thing for the wrong reasons, is that still better than doing the morally bad thing for the right reasons? Does Chaos have a point when it says that the Emperor is a hypocrite and his Imperium is built on lies? Well, it all really depends on the mystery of what happened at Molech. When the Emperor was making his Primarchs, he had the knowledge and mastery to forge their bodies with his own psychic power and mastery of genecraft, but he didn't know how to give them that special Primarch source, the power to shape the galaxy and bend destiny. After all, we have seen Primarch clones, and while their bodies are still impressive, they die super quickly as they don't have that literal plot armor derived from that Big Mac source. It was on Molech that the Emperor entered the warp via a special unique portal, did something in the warp, and came out of it with the knowledge and power to finish making the Primarchs. The Chaos Gods say that the Emperor made a bargain with them, however then proceeded to go back on his bargain during the Great Crusade, thus why Chaos went all psycho ex-girlfriend mode. However, I trust Chaos about as much as I trust George Pell with my nephew's asshole, so I wouldn't say that is spot on. We don't actually know for sure. All we know is that he went in, came out empowered and aged, went back a few centuries later to close the portal and put a massive garrison to defend it, and then Horus later broke through the garrison and went in himself and came out empowered. However, we are never told what they actually did in there, which is frustrating as it would pretty much answer the big question. Was Lorgar right? Was the Horus heresy justified? After all, if the Emperor's empire is founded on the deal with the devil, then it can't really take the moral high ground. What we can theorize is that Molech wasn't just any warp portal. He could have just done it pretty easily anywhere else. I believe that the Molech portal took you to a special part of the warp, not the Sea of Madness, but almost like a central hub where you could view, access, and communicate with warp entities on your own terms. I don't think he made a deal with the Chaos Gods per se. As I have said in other videos, I believe he took 20 minor warp gods, one for each Primarch, and used them to create the souls for his sons and give them their special source. Hence why each Primarch is so unique and volatile. If the Emperor could have helped it, I'm sure he would have made 20 Guillimans or Rogal Dawns. There is a lot of evidence to support this theory that is in a different video I made, but I believe in order to get these minor warp gods, he had to trick or undercut the Chaos Gods, making them his enemy from day one and not his partners. However, since nothing is confirmed, as for now, what happened on Molech remains a mystery, and a big one at that. Speaking of Primarchs, by far the fandom's favourite mystery is the mystery of the 2 lost Primarchs. There were 20 legions, 20 or 21 Primarchs if you count Amigon. However, at some point 2 Primarchs were lost in such a terrible way that not only were all traces and records of them expunged forever, but even their memory was psychically wiped from the Primarchs who knew them. When Rogal Dawn was given his memory back briefly, he fell to his knees and asked Malcador to take it back off him. When Horus tried to utter their names in front of Malcador like the little shit shithead teenager he was, Malkador force-choked the fuck out of him and nearly killed him right then and there. It's so mysterious, like whatever they did had to have been worse than betraying the Emperor and becoming a demon, since that is what half his sons did and there are still plenty of records about them. To compound this mystery further, only the Primarchs were expunged and deleted. Their legions were allowed to be incorporated into the others, mostly the Ultramarines, and had no recorded gene seed issues. So it does make you wonder what those Primarchs could have done. The lore has actually given a surprisingly high amount of information about them. Nothing specific, however it's implied that Leman Russ was responsible for killing one of them, whilst it appears that the Rungdung Xenocides may have been responsible for the demise of the other. When the Emperor met each of his sons, it was heavily implied that to defy the Emperor and refuse to join him would result in the Emperor annihilating his own son. Jagadai understood this, which is the main reason why he joined the Imperium in the first place. Angron got a pass because he was a rage monster that the Emperor knew would come around. However, if there was a Primarch raised by Xenos that loved them and wanted to protect them above all else, then you can start seeing how an issue may arise here. There is every chance that the Rungdung were able to reach one of the Primarchs before the Emperor, turning him into their warlord, which would explain why the Rungdung was so overpowered. However, GW is keeping this one tighter than a nun's vagina, so we can't really confirm anything. All we know for sure is that the two lost Primarchs were very, very naughty boys, and whatever happened to them was an absolute tragedy. Something a bit left of field now, we have the mystery of the Terminus decree. Foresight in 40k isn't super reliable. It can change on a whim, with even the best future seers often getting things wrong. The Emperor is one of the best, yet even for him it's difficult to see what will genuinely happen. Imagine you can see an infinite amount of futures. You can pretty much actually see none, as there are too many to choose from, so you can try act to make the ideal ones occur, but that doesn't guarantee it. Hence the Emperor had a shitload of contingencies and plans to try and mitigate the less ideal futures. Stuff like the Talisman of 7 Hammers is proof of this. Another contingency the Emperor made was the Terminus Decree, a set of instructions handwritten and placed in a wooden box that has been locked away within Malkador's tomb. Only the Grandmaster of the Grey Knights knows of its existence and how to access it. It is said that the instructions contain a secret that will either destroy the Imperium or save it. The only rule is that the box can only ever be opened when the Imperium is doomed, and all other options and contingencies have been exhausted. It is the ultimate last potential salvation, but what that salvation is unknown. Very mysterious. I assume it's not a great salvation though, since it says that accessing it at the wrong time will bring the Imperium to its knees. Some people believe it is the Emperor's true name, hence more or less a way to control the Emperor. Others believe it gives the command to turn off the Golden Throne manually, thereby activating the Talisman of 7 Hammers. Others believe it is the instruction on how to release the Void Dragon. Nobody knows for sure, but what we do know is that it's not the solution mankind would want. Maybe it's a method to also fuck up whoever is destroying the Imperium so that both sides lose. Maybe giving the survivors of humanity a chance to slowly rebuild. Overall, a very interesting mystery that I doubt we will ever uncover, as that seems like some total end times shit. Stepping away from Imperial mysteries, we now have the mystery of the Tau ethereals. The ethereals came out of absolutely nowhere. One moment the Tau are banging sticks together and genociding each other's tits off, the next moment a bunch of immortal super Tau with mind control pheromones appeared out of fucking nowhere, united the Tau Empire and took them from a bunch of scattered tribes to a super galactic advanced empire in just a couple thousand years. It makes like zero sense and seems incredibly unnatural, and as of yet has not been explained in the slightest, creating said mystery. This mystery holds a lot of weight though, as without the ethereals, the Tau would have either been destroyed by each other or would have been destroyed by some minor Imperial fleet passing by. Instead, they are now a galactic player who have the most potential out of all the other races. There is two prevailing theories about the ethereals that do kind of tie into each other. One is that the ethereals were normal Tau that the Eldar kidnapped, modified, educated, and sent back to the Tau to unite them as a potent weapon against chaos, and a potential future ally. After all, the Tau's small souls and lack of psyches mean they are incredibly difficult to corrupt or possess. Their mostly atheist doctrine also helps with this. The reason that not many Eldar mention this or seem to know about it is that it could have been a small subsect of secretive Eldar doing it. The second theory is that the Tau are actually the surviving Necron tier that never went through biotransference. This kind of makes sense, as the Tau have short lifespans, just like the Necron tier, and are incredible builders and technological wizards, you know, just like the Necron tier. There are other similarities, such as both races never having psykers and also kind of looking similar in a way. This theory could also tie back to the Eldar one, with the Eldar potentially having a few Necrontyr they fought during the War in Heaven locked away in stasis. None of the Necrons remember what the Necrontyr looked like, so they wouldn't be able to identify them either. This is all completely unconfirmed and it's just a bit of theory crafting, so take it with a grain of salt. However, the mystery of the ethereals remains the most important mystery in the Tau Empire. You know, obviously other than if the Tau fuck each other via the orifices on their foreheads. The final mystery, the spookiest mystery, is the mystery of the Ghoul stars. Although in Warhammer it's easy to fall into the trap of the warp and chaos being responsible for all the unexplained nightmare shit, fortunately that's not always the case. The Ghoul stars are horrifying and mysterious as it is. However, in the 34th millennium, there was an event called the Pale Wasting, the Harrowing, in which 1,000 human worlds were consumed and destroyed by Lovecraftian nightmares from an interdimensional rent in space located within the Ghoul stars. The coolest part is that this doesn't seem chaos related at all, but some other nightmare. Over 10,000 Space Marines were killed before the nightmare could be stopped and turned back, with only the Nova Marines chapter surviving. Despite likely saving the Imperium, or at least a massive chunk of it, the Pale Wasting has been kept classified in secret, with only a small inscription on Terra telling of the Nova Marines' glory. Despite the Pale Wasting being driven back, most of the region remains infected and uninhabitable and very spooky. There's a flayed one Necron kingdom there, a bunch of literal fucking ghouls, and even the Tyranid Hive fleet that flew through it became twisted, showing that the influence of the Wasting remains. The Imperium has stationed the Death Spectres, one of the spookiest loyalist chapters, to act as eternal guardians of the stars, the first line of defense should the Pale Wasting return. They themselves are a mysterious chapter, using a glass throne to do something mysterious and important. Not gonna lie, probably using it to keep the rift between dimensions closed, but once again, just another theory for just another mystery. And before anyone asks, yes, the Black Templars did once yeet into the Ghoul stars and try and blow it up. That's weaponized autism for ya. In lore, there used to be an Inquisitor literally called Obi-Wan Sherlock Clouseau. Let's get that man on the case. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be, where there is not only a boatload of Battle Mace 40 million hentai, but also a bunch of live action nude cosplay. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more mysterious content. Join the Discord for more memes and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.